Afternoon, everybody.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabria, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Week That Was. I'm Saeed Khan, and we are yet again in the midst of two major dynamic events. One, of course, is the weather, and the other, of course, is the news cycle. So joining us today are, for now, two out of our troika of attorneys, Joel Sklar and Bill Seikaly. Looks like Steve Fishman will be joining us anon. We also have joining us entrepreneur Miles Wilson, labor and community activist Barb Ingalls, veteran journalist Nancy Derringer, and of course, co-founder of Deadline Detroit in what seems to be new digs there, Allan Lengel.
My internet's not working at home, so I'm at Tech Town here.
Oh, very good. See, this is the beauty of Detroit. If you can't get internet, you can always steal it somewhere else. No, no. Tech Town is wonderful. Great space. Pretty decent coffee, whether or not you make the donation in the cup. Just saying. But don't worry, Allan. I'll get you covered next time I go in there. I'll put 2 bits in.
Actually, Saeed, how would you know that unless you didn't donate?
You know, sometimes you lawyers. That's okay. You know, of course, Bill, I'm a teetotaler, so this is completely irrelevant anyway. All right. Well, it looks like the shutdown has been shut down. President Trump has signed the opening of Congress and the government more broadly, and it looks like he's also incentivizing $10,000 to TSA workers who stayed the course, also looking at rewarding others, including air traffic controllers, while punishing others, including also talking about maybe $2,000 as a rebate for the incredible amount of money that we have received thanks to the tariffs, something like $650 billion. There may be restrictions of a cap of $100,000 income, household income, before you can get these. So a lot of money conversations that are happening, but at the same time, there's also now the prospect that Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, is going to have to call a vote on fast track that vote on the release of the Epstein files. All of that going on. What are we to think of this?
Well, I just want to challenge your statement that the shutdown's been shut down. The can's been kicked down the road. That's all. Mm-hmm. We're going to be back in the...
Is that a coffee can, Bill?
Well, it depends. Did you put your money in to get your cup?
You know what? Is this your idea of enhanced interrogation techniques? because I think you need to work on the enhancement there.
But I think we're going to be back here in January, and you know, you can criticize the Democrats for quote folding or not, but there's been a lot of pain. I think that this strategy of kicking it down the road until January, but giving the American people the relief during the holidays may play well for them, because there's going to be a number of votes in the meantime. And if nothing gets done on Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, I think the Republicans are going to really pay a price here, despite Mr. Trump's, President Trump's, speech during the signing ceremony.
So, Allan, I think we've got a video showing differing opinions on the left side of the aisle.
And why his poll numbers are abysmal. People are finally seeing the gap between what Trump pretends to care about and what he actually cares about. The Democrats were finally winning the messaging war. Or, as Maine Senator Angus King put it, Democrats took the L.
Standing up to Donald Trump didn't work.
It didn't? It seemed like it was working to me. Democrats were finally winning elections while Trump was wandering around the White House.
Well, maybe Angus didn't notice the elections on Tuesday. I thought that they worked pretty well. Maybe Angus is not noticing the polling. I think the Republicans are on the defensive, and in my view, it was the vote that Angus cast was the wrong vote.
First, Bernie never seems to enjoy anything, but he does seem to enjoy saying Angus. Not my favorite thing that Angus has ever done. Second, why are you making Bernie sit outside? Was the CNN studio booked up? Oh no, is Trump remodeling that too?
Is Bernie? Does this then confirm suspicions that Bernie spends time in a cryo chamber, because he really does enjoy the cold? So, okay, Bill, I think you bring up an interesting point as far as the strategy that goes in this. And yes, everything seems to be governed now by analytics, by polling. Miles, where do you see this going? I mean, we're coming into, as was said, Thanksgiving. We've got then Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Tet. With the holiday season, I mean, it is a little bit of a reprieve, but at the same time, prices seem to be up, contrary to what the president says. He says we're going down to $2 a gallon on gas, which is true in Qatar, but not
Is
here.
it that expensive in Qatar?
No, you know what? I'm sorry. That was a bottle of water. No, but the idea then that everybody is jockeying for something which seems to be the lead up to the midterm elections. Timing is everything, and
so
here we are.
We're all in this
Steve
boat
Fishman.
together. I'm hopeful that things can, as of now, with the current regime, based off of how it's been constant turmoil, I feel like at this point, I only can expect even more chaos as we head out to close out the year. Something else to get brought up to try to prolong the process and continue to keep us in flux in terms of a nation. So we're all in this boat together. It sucks. We're all of the ebbs and flows that we've been enduring, but I'm not sure what's on the horizon that's going to say, hey, everything is going to flip, change, the government's going to open back up, prices are going to go down, and things are going to be positive looking forward. I think we're going to have an uphill battle moving forward. It's going to continuously be roadblocks that may uphold the process.
Okay. Allan.
I mean, I think we're just going to see. I agree with Miles. I think we're just going to see chaos for the next till the end of this. I mean, Trump is Agent Chaos, and it's part of the narcissist personality that you create chaos so that you are in control of the situation and you can reduce the chaos. I mean, you have the tariffs. He pulls back the tariffs. He raises the tariffs 100%. He does this or that. It's just total chaos. It's never going to change. We're always going to have fucking chaos with this guy.
Well, so Joel, there was a poll that was conducted, and just heard the results today, that 62% of Michiganders place the blame on the higher prices on Trump's policies regarding the tariffs. It seems as though he still enjoys a lot of support within the high 30s among people who I don't think will be bothered, even if they are essentially priced out of their home and their livelihood. How do you see this messaging going then?
I think that, as our pollsters always said, there's a 30% lock, or, the people who are always going to be with Trump no matter what he does. I think the disfavorability of Trump, I think, is wonderful to see. I think the fractures within the right are great to see. The house of cards is somewhat falling apart. He's making different promises to make up for bad decisions, which are just now more bad decisions. As far as the Democrats go, I think what the upshot of this is going to be is that Schumer's going to be gone sooner or later. He's got to, this is enough. Pelosi left. Schumer's perceived as weak, whether he is or not. I have no idea. He sure looks weak to me. I'm sick of looking at a guy, who's older than me, who's just
who seems to think that if we just wait long enough, everything is going to be okay.
This isn't politics as usual. You're acting on premises and assumptions that are decades old and are obsolete. Mm-hmm. And so I really hope this portends for new leadership in the Senate for the Democrats, with younger leaders who can come forward articulate a position, hold a position, and unite the party, unite the various fractions. And Schumer ain't going to do that. So I think the upshot is he's going to be gone. I certainly hope that's the case.
Bill.
I'm going to let Barb go. She had her hand up before I did. Go ahead.
All right.
Barb, muted.
Still muted.
It doesn't say muted. We just can't hear you. There.
Yeah. Marcel. You can.
All right.
Barb is stuck in an invisible box.
Barb is in the Phantom Zone along with Terrence Stamp in Superman 2. All right, Bill, go ahead then.
Yeah, Joel, I love you dearly, but every time I hear somebody say, "Oh, the cracks," and "Oh, he's falling apart," this guy, this terrifies me. And despite the fact that, this 40% or this 35% or this 30%, whatever's baked in, is terrifying to me. If people could add numbers and subtract numbers, they ought to see. He is people's insurance rates because of the Affordable Care Act are going to double and triple. If you were paying $500 a month, you're talking now about $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And what's his plan? We're going to give these people $2,000 a year in cash and let them buy their own.
Right.
Now, let's see. That's about 2 months.
Yeah.
Of what
not even your deductible.
Me. How about, and people just don't seem to add the numbers up, and they're with them anyhow. This is the problem with a totalitarian regime. You want to talk about fear? You've got the Democratic, what used to be a mainstream guy, Democratic candidate, or Republican candidate, I'm sorry, for the Senate, talking about how he was robbed of the election a couple years ago against Alyssa Slotkin because of some van who had votes
last year.
That is
crazy shit.
Yeah,
out of their mind, crazy shit. And this is a guy who used to be a mainstream guy. You've got one of the Republican candidates for governor asking DOJ to come in and take over the elections in Michigan. And that's going on in every state in the country. Yeah. My prediction, and I hate making this prediction, my prediction is that Trump and the MAGA crowd is going to try and take over, nationalize the elections in this country. That will be terrifying. That's third world shit.
Well, it's not just third world shit. It also makes it so much easier to manipulate results. I mean,
that's why it's third world shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a heck of a lot easier to hack into one computer system than it is to hack into thousands, which is what we have now. I absolutely agree with you.
The
Bill, Mike Rogers thing is crazy. I've said this, I think, on this show before. One of the weirdest things about Trumpism is how these people who follow him try to use the same tactics, and they just sound stupid. And I mean, they just can't pull it off for whatever reason. It's like, as the kids say, it's so cringe. But I'm sorry.
Bill, I love you. First of all, Barb, are you back volume-wise? Let's hear you.
Am I back?
You are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Bill, I love you, but as the one person on this,
I love you, but I love you.
I
can't tell you how many times I've heard that line. So
well, it's the line that you gave Joel. So I love you, Bill. However, as the one person on here that actually is from the 3W zip code, the third world, may I remind you that it was the fall of Weimar and Spain and Portugal and Italy and all these countries where democracy was perverted and the elections collapsed. You don't need to look at the third world because, damn it, we don't have elections to begin with. But you've got this issue of the implosion of democracy from within. Correct. And so I would actually say that we're not really a third world country. We're following a script that was pretty active in the last century.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, now that
you could add Germany to that list, by the way.
I started with Weimar, my friend. Yes.
Oh,
and now
okay.
Yes, and now that I'm back to my post-colonial,
and I am appropriately chastised, Saeed.
Well, now that I'm back to my post-colonial, sellout mode, let's begin again. Okay, Barb.
And Hegseth this morning announced that we're going to attack Venezuela, right? The southern tip or the southern spear or something like that. The problem, back to the original one, the problem with Democrats is that they're going to stand in the way of every single young progressive that is running for office. Yes. They're gonna do everything they can to stop it. They're gonna. It just was so shocking to see how
didn't work so well in New York, did it?
Didn't work so well in New York, but they're trying it every other place, and they're and I have to say, as far as Mike Rogers goes, it's just so funny. It's like, Mike, is that Van in the room with us right now?
I think Barb that the van is in his mind in the same way that the sofa is in Vance's mind. It's always there.
Just engines
Allan.
running and
Mike Rogers used to be a big critic of Trump. Privately told people how much he hated Trump, and then privately told people that he had to back Trump in order to get nominated. The van he talks about is a van. He says it came at 5:30 in the morning over at the Huntington Center or whatever. The person who was heading up the elections from the state was saying that's tip. They come in. It's a centralized place where they count the votes. The truck probably came in about 3:30 a.m. They started coming from all different places. They were still counting the votes. And they use Detroit all the time as an example because Detroit is so Democratic rich. It's probably over 93% Democratic. So they always attack Detroit as with all these conspiracies. And Trump has set the tone where they all try to, come up with these crazy conspiracies. Why? Because they couldn't have lost because they ran a fucked up campaign. They couldn't have lost because they had they were just not good candidates. There's got to be an explanation.
But it's also race dogmas, right? Given Detroit's demographics.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It had nothing to do with the fact that it ain't a white city. That's
how many times have smart people, journalists, public officials, whatever, explained exactly what happened in 2020, why Trump lost Michigan? It wasn't in Detroit. It was in Oakland County. Oakland County, which, like so many affluent suburban counties, has begun to turn, or has been turning progressively bluer. It's got a lot of immigrants, a lot of high dollar immigrants, Indian doctors, Chaldean, entrepreneurs, etc. And these people don't want to hear him talking about shithole countries and everything. The case has been laid out so many times. It's tiresome, and yet they still like to hear the bullshit, and this is why I was thinking the other day, I really do think a lot about like what's going to happen after this. And are we ever going to be able to talk to the people who were in that 30% again? And it's hard. It's really hard for me because my overwhelming feeling toward these people is disgust. It's not disagreement. It's not, I have no respect for them anymore. I am revolted by them. And that's not a comfortable feeling to have about people that you may live near and work with. Not you, Allan.
Nancy, just one point of correction. Are you revolted or are you revulsed?
I'm a writer, but I can't even tell you exactly what revulsed means. What does revulsed mean?
It means being revolted. But anyway, let's move on.
There you go.
I counted votes in the 2020 election in Oakland County. I had worked the AV board. And it was really early in the day when I started to feel so much better. When I was counting West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, all of that entire community, and I just got more cheerful all day long. I was there till pretty late, but it was, and that's who, and you're right, you're absolutely right. That's who won the election.
Mm-hmm. That's who won Michigan. That's who won Michigan for Biden. It wasn't right. Detroit. So
Steve, right now we've got the president threatening to sue the BBC for $1 billion over an edited documentary. The BBC has apologized. Heads have rolled in London over this. It's creating a crisis. And yet the BBC has also said that the apology is basically all you're going to get. You're not entitled to compensation. I have a legal question for you. By Trump threatening to sue the BBC, is that not extortion?
Well, I think Bill's the better person to answer that. But every time a plaintiff wants something, they threaten to do something, and I don't know that that's would qualify into the criminal law as extortion. I just think I briefly read an article in the Times about the lawsuit. I guess in England, again, Bill and Joel probably know more about this. There's all kinds of rules. I don't even think you're eligible to get more than X amount of dollars. This business is about he's going to get $1 billion.
But he would sue them in the United States. I mean, because the courts here would be much more generous. I'd imagine.
All I can say
English law.
That's not my definition of extortion. If it were Seikaly, Ben Johnson, Figer firm, they'd all be in jail for extortion because you can demand money all you want.
Hell no, I'd hire Steve Fishman. They'd never get me in jail.
Yeah.
Well, in England, actually, to this day, the court of law and the court of equity are still separate. There's still the court of chancery. He could go to the court of law and seek money damages. He could go to the court of chancery and demand the invocation of the doctrine of prima nocta.
What is prima nocta?
Didn't you watch Braveheart?
I'm sorry.
First
English... Night? Is that
Yes.
First Night? Oh, God.
Yes.
Was that made after Purple Rain?
Yes, it was. Sorry.
It was Purple
It
Rain. Yeah.
plus it was 4 hours long,
actually,
and everybody I
yeah.
know who's seen Braveheart talks about
Actually,
this.
William Wallace was actually a solo act after he left the Revolution.
I don't know who William Wallace is, but the point you got to remember is Trump's forever threatening lawsuits. Let's look and see, when has he ever won one?
Mhm.
Every time a jury gets to look at him, I mean, he gets convicted of crimes. He goes, let him go to court. Let him get on the witness stand. You can see now with his responses to the Epstein stuff, that he's incapable of telling the truth. He doesn't even know what the truth is. So every time he threatens a lawsuit, my answer would be, I'd get myself some really good lawyers, obviously, but I would say, really? Fine. Let's go to court. See how you do with the jurors.
His deposition. He's never going to give a dep. He's never going to sit under oath. I mean, him suing arms whoever he's suing with a lot of power. Now you have the power of the federal court behind you. You have discovery rules behind you. Right. If you're really committed to find out information, there's a hell of a lot of tools you can use to get that information. And I think one guy who may do it is Wolf. With his lawsuit against Melania, this preemptive case, he may use all the tools of discovery to unravel a whole lot of questions that people have. And so I love the fact, quite frankly, that he brings these suits. I wish somebody had the balls to engage in fucking discovery, because he's giving you the keys to the fucking kingdom. Yep. So let's take them.
Do you follow Michael Wolff? That may require a little bit of explanation to some of our readers who are not always online and know what Michael Wolff. I mean, Michael Wolff is a journalist and a writer. He's more an author than a journalist, I'd say. He works only for himself. He's got some squishy ethical practices, but that's okay with me. And his what has this Instagram channel where he sits in his beautiful Hamptons home, Amagansett, and talks about Donald Trump. And he's developed, his wife, who decorated the place, has developed a fan base on the side, based just on the settings that he's sitting in while he talks in this monotone about Donald Trump. Yeah, exactly. But he's been saying for a while that Epstein introduced Trump and Melania, and that in fact he even claims that the first time they had sex was on his stupid airplane. But
didn't last very long, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Toledo to Detroit flight. Anyway,
that was.
Anyway,
actually, I think it was City Airport to Metro.
Yeah, just some taxiing. Anyway, Melania has threatened to sue him for something like $1 billion. Just some insane amount of money. And he came back and he put up like a GoFundMe and said, you know, I need some money. I'm going to counter. I'm going to sue her.
He already sued her. I think he already filed.
Yes.
You know, and again, you have tools. I mean, I'm telling you that the rules of discovery are really broad.
Yeah.
And once you bring in a federal court judge, a district court judge who is going to totally treat the case like any other case, we're going to search for the truth as long as the rules of evidence, you know, allow us to do so, and the court rules do. You can get so much, and I'm hoping that Wolf does it. It's the greatest research tool you're ever going to have.
Yeah.
I hate to say this. The fact of the matter is, people were willing to do it when he wasn't president. They kowtow when he is president. He has so much power in that office. He has brought to their knees some of the largest and best law firms in this country, some of the best universities in this country, some of the great corporations in this country. He has brought them to their knees, and by the way, made a personal fortune doing it.
Absolutely. But those are institutional, you know, clients in a sense that work with the government. Some plaintiff's lawyer who does not work with the government, who is not dependent upon these contacts or these contracts, may in fact take that case, and maybe Wolf will select the right guy and say, fuck this, I got nothing to lose. I got everything to gain in every way, and pursue it aggressively.
Joel, it's not that I disagree with you. I completely agree with you. The problem is it doesn't work if one or two people are doing it when we're talking about hundreds of lawsuits.
Bill, you should have cloned Jerry Spence when you had the chance. Alan,
I don't know. I don't know what the standards are in England with the BBC and all, but basically, look, you know, like the thing with 60 Minutes or whatever, which was not a big deal. First of all, you know, if you take it to court, what harm are you causing a guy who's been accused and really has civilly been found liable of rape, who's been, you know, done all these crazy things? How do you ruin that guy's reputation? Plus, the bar for being president is so high that nobody should ever have to settle a lawsuit or lose a lawsuit to him. You know, there's just, I mean, what is the damage? What, you know, he claimed, you know, the 60 Minute thing that he lost, you know, it harmed his election. He won.
Yeah.
Show me some damage that was done to this guy. Who can ruin a reputation of a serial liar? You know, a serial convict. He's a convict, man.
Yep.
Well, you've got an administration.
I mean,
you've got an administration that can't even convict a sandwich in D.C. So
right.
You've got that going.
The power that Trump has is, again, these over the networks. It's all commerce. He controls all of the commerce for the network. The network's going to pay whatever he wants them to pay. Principle be damned. There is no principle. There's commerce. That's what is. We're all transactional now. That is what this nation is. It's commerce. What's best for me? How much can I get? That's the ethos that we got right now. And that's permeated government.
Right.
But because of all of his rather dubious transactions throughout his entire life, he knows where the pressure points are with this government. The FCC issuing licenses, authorizing mergers and acquisitions when you've got these media conglomerates that want to get bigger. He knows how to play the system, and he knows how to game the system. And people are falling like a deck of cards or a house of cards in this. I mean,
he's normalized it. It's okay to do it.
He brought Skadden ARPS to its knees. He brought all these other big, because they're all lobbyists. They all have massive government contracts. Miles, what are you thinking about this?
Crazy, controversy. I mean, it's what is the norm now with this new regime, but everyone is able to have due process. So he should be able to undergo this process as far as suing. But something that you brought up earlier, Joe, these are things that these companies, organizations could have done as far as these lawsuits years ago. Now he's in a prime position to be able to flex his muscles in terms of his strength. I don't think this is the best window to be able to seek vengeance, but hey, we're taking that route as far as a nation, and we're gonna see how this drags along. I think he's definitely in a prime position to be able to take a lot of these things on based off of the things that have played out. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it unfolds.
But hold on, Miles. I don't think this is a question of seeking vengeance. I hear you, and I understand why your perspective on that. But I think what Joel and Steve and I are all talking about is it's not a question of seeking vengeance. It's a question of standing your ground. There is a difference. If these companies would have stood their ground, we would not be seeing, at least in my opinion, the level of chaos.
I agree
That we're seeing.
That's the problem, Bill. I agree. But the problem is how late they are to the party. Late to the party. The party already started. So, I mean, at this point,
on that,
you're going to get the bottom of the jungle juice, and it is what it is. So,
Mickey Redmond said the cow's out of the barn. You know?
I mean,
we barred the door. We got some problems. So,
well, I want to go back to the jungle juice. The cow out of the barn makes me feel like an old man.
Well, this is a president who does back down in the face of world leaders who show strength and who show greater power to him. Alan, let's take a quick commercial.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabria, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
So this is a family show, and let me preface this: my use of this word.
It is.
Well, at least the time frame. But I'm gonna use this term in the Malcolm Gladwell sense, not in the sexual sense. How much stickiness is the Epstein file situation going to be moving forward? And we've got Steve Fishman weighing ooh. Steve.
I don't know who Arnold Horshack is. Is that?
Oh my God!
I give up. This was in the analog era, for God's sake.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Nerd. Welcome back, Cotter.
Mr. Cotter.
I never saw that show ever once in my life.
Oh my God!
I just remember that.
Steve, you're not alone.
All right. Enough.
Steve, you're not alone.
Miles, your parents might not have been born when that show came out.
So I personally think it would be the height of irony if, despite all of the other criminality that his behavior and all of the greediness and if Epstein's thing is what brings him down. But I have to think, looking at what happened yesterday, they dragged Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert to the White House to try to browbeat them into voting against it. And the women told them, I guess, to go screw themselves. But the fact that they're going to that length, I really honestly think that and it would be such, not just irony, it'd be a delicious irony. If after all is said and done, it wasn't enough with Stormy Daniels, it wasn't enough with him getting convicted 426 times. But if this brings him down, and I got the feeling, I don't know what you guys think, but I don't watch TV, right? But reading in the newspapers and just looking at things, it seems to me that this is transcending anything else that's ever happened with respect to this guy, because these MAGA people who are, a little bit nuts anyway, they're really into this. So I'm fascinated to hear what you guys think about it.
Well, Steve, isn't there the greater irony to that irony that that Lauren Boebert had her fun in sitting next to a guy in a theater,
right?
And then Marjorie Taylor Greene had her own alleged peccadillos with yoga instructors. So the fact that now. You didn't know that one, Nancy?
I didn't know they were yoga instructors. When I think about yoga, I do not think about Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's CrossFit, yes. In fact, she had a CrossFit gym, but I don't see her namasteing with everybody. The light in me honors the light in you. Go ahead.
All I know is there are other occasions where I also don't think of Marjorie Taylor Greene. So anyway, Miles.
So going off of Steve's point, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how things unfold with his Epstein files. One large reason why is because he's not the only one involved in it. It's going to be other politicians, other CEOs. It's a very messy situation. So I feel like the group think this is the trump card, as you might say, the corner phrase, to be able to get him down, bring him down. But at what expense? Is that bringing down everyone else that we've built the system off of in terms of these corporations, these individuals, these different political individuals that have power and influence? So I feel like it's definitely a ticking time bomb at this point to see how everything evolves.
Yeah, see.
But the one thing, Miles, I don't give a shit what their political leanings are or where they are. Anybody, any male that's messing around with underage girls, I don't care if they're the greatest lefty in the history of the world or they're the greatest athlete in the history of the world. They deserve whatever they hear. They
Why don't we?
1000% agree. 1000% agree.
Why don't we just call them what they are? As they're children. I think
Yes.
even underage girls is a little bit too ambiguous on that.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Children.
Yeah. Barb.
You know, that's exactly it. And to put it as bluntly as I can possibly do, these guys are accused of fucking children, raping children,
Terrible.
taking them. It's so sickening. So apparently 45 minutes ago, Trump said that he is asking Pam Bondi to investigate Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan Chase, and many other institutions to find out what is really going. Right. I mean, and I tell you, really, put them all in jail. If they're child fuckers, put them in jail.
Have at it. Yeah.
I have no, and we despise women in this world right now so much. We're worth nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and
well, they all happen to be in column 2 of the list of people who've been to Epstein Island. I doubt that they'll investigate Cyndi Lauper though, who was also on the list.
but Laura Ingraham, or was it Megyn Kelly?
Megyn Kelly said that you know, if they're 15, well, you know, and it's
right,
like
they're gonna. That's the talking point.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Now they're gonna say
crazy.
15 is fun. You knew this was gonna happen. You gotta deny it exists. If it exists, it's no fucking big deal. They're only 15. Come on, it's insane. But that's what's gonna, and then it's gonna be somebody else's fault, and it's not. You know, it's just this constant denial. So you're right. 15 is a child.
Story.
So we have an honest question. Do you think his supporters will care?
That's my point. What appears to be different. It seems like there are some of his supporters who actually might care. And we don't know until all this stuff is released. We don't know what else might be in there, right? I mean, we don't know. Yep. But I think that this, unlike everything else, there are going to be people that support him that are going to say, wait a minute, this is a bridge too far.
Yeah. Although I would not count on most of them doing that. I think some of them will.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's the pressure. As I say, I think that's the pressure point where finally it's like, what does it take? Okay, he's accused of raping, sexually assaulting. He's accused of stealing. He's double dealing. He's making all this money in crypto. He's been, you know, he was charged.
Open, naked corruption kind of covers it all.
Corruption,
right?
Yes, corruption. And it doesn't matter, but pedophilia or underage or whatever you want to call it, that seems to strike, I mean, with Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, that seems to be a bridge too far for the party.
Well, and let me just say one quick thing, and then I'll let the rest of the lawyers talk. They would not be fighting this hard to keep this stuff under wraps if there wasn't something to it.
Exactly.
And I've continued my anthropological exploration of the right wing by listening to AM radio in the last few days. And I've noticed that one of the ridiculous excuses that they're making, now granted, this is on the brain dead end of the AM band, the people who like find WJR uses too many big words. These people are saying things like, well, maybe he's trying to protect the innocent people who are in that file, who maybe sat at the table and went to the island and flew on the plane, but didn't have sex with the girls. And so I think what he's trying to do is protect those people, to which I can only say what some critic who reviewed Virginia Giuffre's book said, which is, Why is Melinda French the only person who sat at that table, who sat at those tables and said, "What the fuck is this 17-year-old girl doing here?"
Precisely.
What? Yeah. Why are all these super smart people, these Harvard professors, these captains of industry, are too goddamn dumb not to notice that all the women who are around this guy, aren't old enough to vote? I mean, come on. So
it's like, isn't that like,
Steve is right. They all deserve to burn.
But isn't that, Nancy, like Trump sending Ivanka to the G20?
But Trump said it. Trump said, "Hey, he likes women like me," and he goes, "And some are kind of young."
On the younger side, so the wonderful secret, all that crap. Yeah,
I thought he meant, Alan, that they were into Jung and not Freud. But Bill,
that was
terrible.
Right. I've spent a good chunk of my career representing women and boys and a few men in these situations. So I want to clarify a couple things. One, pedophiles are people who are interested in children who have
prepubescent children.
Right.
But
that doesn't make anything that we're talking about any different.
Yes.
These are incredibly vulnerable people. The defenses that I have heard in these cases to support Barb's position is absolutely amazing. She wanted it. 16-year-old girl, 38-year-old male, she wanted it. And you know what? Here's the real sad part. I mock jury all my cases. That defense works if you're not careful with who the jury is. I agree with Steve. It'll peel off some folks, mainly people who have been victims of sexual harassment themselves. A lot of times you haven't come out and finally think somebody standing up to these jerks. But I will tell you that there are also women who have been through it who said, wait a minute. I was a victim. Nobody compensated me. I'm not going to compensate her.
Yeah.
So the dynamics here are not at all clear. And I don't see this destroying Trump. I don't. It should, but I can give you at least 24 other things it should have. It should bring down everyone who was involved. The damage that this does to young women are virtually unimaginable.
Did any of you read the story in the Times today about the Matt Gaetz, the girl who ended up with Matt Gaetz, the 17-year-old? She was being passed between two parents, one of whom was homeless. When she was with her father, they slept in a homeless shelter. So she was at least part-time homeless. She was saving up money for braces, to get braces. And so she went on a website, a sugar daddy, they call them sugaring websites, where young women seeking arrangements, I think it's called, can hook up with older men for a lot of money. It's just prostitution. It's all it is. But this is, imagine telling that story in court. What did you need the money for, Virginia? I was hoping I would get some braces, something like that. Just imagine that.
But they'll still go after her.
They will go after her because they'll say, well, she went to this website.
Or Walmart or something. And I tell you, you talk to people, you talk to young women. I have a real good friend who was very short on money, and she works full time, and she was seriously considering it.
Yeah.
Seriously considering it. And all of her friends talked her out of it and said, you can't control this. You think you control this, but you cannot control this.
Yeah.
And
but there's 10,000 stories about why women get themselves into this position. And the fact that men or adults, because this is always a power game. I've seen it with adult women and male students. It's a power game, and the fact that they use that power and defend it is simply outrageous. There's no justification for what this society allows.
I wish I could apologize in person to Monica Lewinsky, is all I can say. I wish she was a little older, but that power dynamic was just.
Well, and it was what drew her to him. was the power. So.
Well, but I mean, she was also duped by people like Linda Tripp. I mean, there were so many moving pieces. By the way, I'll let you know when I get my apology from Mrs. Robinson. I'm expecting it any day now. Well, on a different front, in a different branch of government, the Supreme Court of the United States had two major decisions. One is it extended blocking full SNAP payments, which maybe now will change with the shutdown having been lifted, at least temporarily, as Bill rightly said, being kicked down the can. But the Supreme Court also, without comment, rebuffed the efforts by former Kentucky clerk. Can't remember the county.
Kim Davis.
Kim Davis. No, I remember her name. I don't remember the county. Kim Davis, who was trying to appeal the $330,000 in legal fees that she incurred in her case where she was terminated for having refused to accept the license for same-sex marriage after the passage of Obergefell versus Hodges, or the decision in 2015, which legalized same-sex marriage, which her lawyers were also trying to have the Supreme Court reconsider and to repeal. So for now, it seems as though same-sex marriage in the United States has been protected and preserved, and Kim Davis is still on the hook for $330,000.
Good.
I'm not as excited about this as I wish I were, because all they decided to do was not hear the appeal. And I'm still terrified about what they'll do. There's a lot of reasons why this wasn't a very appealing issue for them to consider. So,
do you know, Bill? Are there any cases coming through the system that are challenging Obergefell? Because that would seem to be a much more direct challenge.
Yeah, there always are. Do I know about them directly? No, but there always are.
Okay, Steve.
No, what I about this thing, when I saw the headline, what I really wanted to see was if there was a vote, because kind of like Bill, I really don't know which way they're headed. Personally, I think they'd have a hard time. Not that they couldn't do it if they wanted to, but I don't see that happening, honestly. I really don't.
Did you see the overturning of Roe coming? I certainly didn't.
Kind of. I think Roe was what they used to knock everybody over the head with was Ruth Bader Ginsburg's thing way back when, right? Who obviously was not opposed to the notion of abortion, but the way she described the way the case was decided. This one here, I have a hard time seeing them reverse it, to tell you the truth. Maybe
your mouth to God's ear, Steve.
Well, the other question I'd like to ask the lawyers and everybody is, it seems as though I can't remember a president who has used the pardon power of his office in the way that this president has. Yeah. And this week, Trump pardoned Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Mark Meadows, and a lot of others who were
Michonne Maddock.
And Michonne Maddock in their efforts to dispute the 2020 election. Steve.
Well, the first thing is that the pardon power, to me, I mean, you can never discuss the pardon power and the misuse of it until you talk about Clinton and Mark Rich.
And Roger, yeah.
That was unbelievable to me. So the pardon power is so broad, and so the thing that I want to see, and goes back to our Epstein thing. This is Ghislaine Maxwell and her lawyers or whoever it is. They're looking for a pardon for her. What do you guys think? No way in a million years, right?
No, all depends how much money you come up with.
Well, I think that I think
for sale.
I don't think it's a question of money. I think it's a question of testimony.
Right. I think it's extortion at this point. She's got the goods, and what's it going to take to shut you up? You need steak filet mignon for dinner every night.
Well, unlimited toilet paper. That's right. Unlimited toilet paper. Yes. And all of us who survived the COVID hysteria, some of us, of course, had built-in bidets, but that's a different story.
Giuliani was getting paid apparently $2 million is what he was saying. That's what he was offering for his services to get a pardon for people. I mean, this has been a real nice cottage industry for lawyers for billionaires.
Yeah.
For specific lawyers who seem to have a knack for getting very wealthy people pardons. And this is like the Pope selling fucking indulgences. What the hell is going on? So I think that there was no way that the pardon, it was this absolute, that ability that, there should be legislation that prohibits some things. You can't pardon your own kids. You can't pardon family members. I mean, there should be some restrictions because the power is being abused. Before, presidents had respect for the Constitution. At least they had some respect for the office. This guy does not give a shit. So all of those ideas of self-restraint are gone. Those are long gone and lost. And
we have in
wake up, man. I mean,
in Hamtramck with the police chief, one of the allegations came up that he was trying to help get a guy a pardon. And one of the guys involved was a restaurant owner in Farmington Hills, who allegedly, there was allegations of like lots of money being tossed around to make this happen. And the bottom line is, who is going to investigate it? Not the FBI, not the Justice Department. I just can't.
No, Alan, didn't you know the FBI and the Justice Department, they're independent organizations. They're
President who?
So, Alan, you did some reporting on Bill Pulte, and of course, he has quite a prominent role in the current administration, but he's also courting quite a bit of controversy in Washington.
Right. Well, now for some reason, he came up with the idea of a 50-year mortgage.
50-year mortgage, yeah.
Yeah, 50-year mortgage. And people in the White House were blindsided, and they're freaking out about it. They're saying that it's bad policy. It could end up costing people more for homes and stuff like that.
Could?
Pulte, yeah. I mean, Bill Pulte is crazy, and the treasurer threatened at a dinner recently to punch him in the fucking face, as he said. Bill Pulte is just, I mean, he's behind a lot of these mortgage things with Letitia James. They're trying to get.
There's talk about how he illegally accessed, some files on that, and he's only finding Democrats who.
And there are people in the administration who have done the same thing that he's trying to charge these people. And his parents, his father and I believe his stepmother, they have a home in Florida and then maybe Bloomfield Hills or something. They are doing the same thing that he's accusing other people, but it's so selective now. It's just crazy what's going on. And Kash Patel is the biggest stooge ever to be in that position. Pam Bondi, biggest stooge ever. And I thought Bill Barr was pretty shitty as an attorney general, but Jeff, what's his name, Sessions, was actually ended up being a stand-up guy, and that's why he got pushed out. But
let's not go too far.
Well,
Jeff Sessions was not a stand-up guy.
Right.
He did the right thing in a particular situation. That doesn't make him a stand-up guy.
Well, more so than the other guys.
So where would you rank John Mitchell in this fine pantheon?
Aganif. He was bad. But I mean, what we have now is like, who is going to investigate if anybody does something illegal? Trump's not going to let Pam Bondi do it. Trump's not going to let Kash Patel do it.
But I think it's important. I think it's from a historical context. I think Saeed asked the right question. You look back at Mitchell, who I think was a despicable human being. He did bad things in certain situations, but he didn't try to turn the entire Justice Department into a hit squad for the presidency. What we have overturned all norms in this country in just 8 years. Well,
which is why Schumer has to go, because it's like we need a bare knuckle fighter for this for that job, not somebody who thinks that it's going to somehow all be magically returned. Because
I don't disagree with you at this point, Nancy, but you got to wonder, where does this leave us at the end? You talked about it earlier when you asked the question, are we ever going to be able to talk to the other side when this is over?
Maybe when they're all in prison, we can talk to them through the plexiglass, but that's about the only place I want to talk to.
Well, I'm talking about their supporters.
No, I get it. I know what you're saying.
All right. Hey, so Alan, let's go to our final segment then.
All right. Let me.
Downtown Detroit, Robert Wells, Schmuck of the Week.
Okay, Miles, you're up to bat. Who's your Schmuck of the Week?
I wouldn't say schmuck. I'm gonna say I'm hopeful, optimistic. For the locally here in Michigan, the city of Detroit. I'm hopeful that people continue to put in the effort to educate themselves, put themselves in a position to put forth an effort to vote and get involved in the community. So I'm more optimistic about that. I kind of felt like with the voting season just recently passing, the numbers that trickled out was definitely discouraging. So I'm hopeful that things continue to go up on an upward trajectory. So hopeful for us to be able
Are you
to.
optimistic about Mary Sheffield?
Of course. Well, she is in a role now, so definitely got to be optimistic. Hoping for the best for us all. I mean, got to want the community to strive. So she's in a role. Let's get behind her, give her as much support, lend as many helping hands as possible to ensure that she can continue the upward trajectory of the city.
I agree with you, Miles, as long as we keep our eyes open at the same time.
Exactly. You got to always pay attention, because when things skirt underneath the rug, that's when it ends up festering and blows up, as we can see on the national stage on a day-to-day basis at the White House. So,
all right. I will forgive your unintended slight on my beloved Yiddish by avoiding that. Okay. Barb.
I have for you Catherine Cortez Maso, Dick Durbin, John Fetterman, Maggie Hassan, Tim Kaine, Angus King, Jackie Rosen, and Jean Shaheen for really cutting the
the Neville Chamberlain caucus.
The Neville Chamberlain got, it's horrible what they were doing to very, very vulnerable people. But if you ask those same people right now whether they think that everything is going to be okay, they're going to say no. I think that they're, and you can only call it a betrayal. And you can blame Chuck Schumer, who probably was on the phone with the weakest people telling him to do it.
Well, they were handpicked, obviously, because they're all either retiring or they're not up for re-election until 2030 or something. So yeah,
exactly.
Right. Or the Democrats who act like Republicans.
Pardon?
Yeah. All right.
Or the Democrats who act like Republicans.
Yep.
Me?
All right. Fish.
I was actually thinking of making it Pete Hegseth because of his unilateral war on Venezuela, a little small part of Venezuela. But I have to stick with, I agree with Barb. It's not just Schumer. I actually went and looked this up. 31% of the Democratic senators are over the age of 70, 14 out of 45. So I'm going to make Schumer kind of since he's the majority or the minority leader, we'll make him the Schmuck of the Week, but he's joined by all the rest of them, and any of them who can't follow the lead of Nancy Pelosi and Nadler. It's time to go. I agree with all the things you guys were saying. We need young people. It's not even so much they got to be loud and aggressive and whether they can, take the ball to the basket or something. We just need young people to reflect what this party is about.
Yeah.
And if these people over 70 can't stand the thought of, oh my God, I won't be called senator anymore. They will be called senator, just like judges. You can retire 20 years later, people still call them judge. So they're my Schmucks of the Week, and they're going to stay my Schmucks of the Week until one by one they decide it's time to go.
Yeah.
There's a Bob Dylan song in there somewhere, Steve. God damn, I like that speech. I love you, buddy.
Is this acoustic, Bob, or is this?
Gather around people wherever you go.
That's right.
That's right. All right. Well, I mean, look at how low America's now gotten in the international stage. The UK has suspended intel sharing with the US because of fear that they will be complicit in this illegal engagement with Venezuela striking on the boats.
War
I mean, it's
the term you're looking for there, Saeed.
Thank you much there, Bill. Yep, that would be the term, the war crime term. So that's where we are now. Joel.
Okay, I am going to go with Megyn Kelly. I listened to her explanation that a 5-year-old girl isn't the same as a 15-year-old girl. Well, yeah, okay, that's absolutely correct. Today isn't the same as fucking yesterday. These kids are children. You're a 15-year-old girl or 15-year-old girl, you're a kid. We protect kids, right? You're the most vulnerable, and to somehow justify, just preying on children, isolating them, giving them money, taking them to some fucking island, and they want it, and they're acting under the free will is sick. And it's just for her to start making that talking point that 14 and 15-year-old girls, well, it isn't so bad. It's like, what the hell? And this is what the Republicans are going to do. This talking point, they are going to change these goalposts. He's really not a pedophile, is what they're going to say. And it just sickens me that this is what's going on. And so, absolutely, Megyn Kelly, you're my schmuck of the week. And how dare you say such a thing, having children of your own?
We'll call them the Well Actually caucus. Yeah. Well, actually,
Fish. I hope on this message that you've sent us that you have that memorized and that you didn't need an AI.
I have the entire tune memorized, but I didn't want to bore you guys with 14 verses.
No.
Yeah, but something's happening here. I agree with Barb, that's for sure.
Joel, what's remarkable about Megyn Kelly? She's got a 14-year-old daughter named Yardley.
Right.
She's got two sons, one named Yates and one named Thatcher, which means she's named her kids after a cider mill, a British cosmetics company, and a British fascist prime minister. But anyways,
Megyn R. Kelly. That's funny.
Yeah. Okay.
That is funny.
Age ain't nothing but a number.
Yeah.
The question that I have is, that I would pose to her is that, would you feel comfortable having your 14-year-old around a person like Epstein or a Trump? Right. It's a simple question. If he was I don't know, the carpool dad for pickup, would you feel comfortable with your kid in there? So absolutely astounding. Nancy.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's been such a depressing week. I've spent a couple days making my way through that Laura Loomer profile in the New Yorker, which was just I needed brain bleach after that thing. That woman is as crazy as a shithouse rat, as they used to say. But Steve and Barb kind of stole my thunder, so I'm going to single out Dick Durbin, Senator Dick Durbin.
Oh yes.
Who actually said in public that he went up to John Thune, the majority leader, during the vote last night to tell him that on the shutdown vote and the ACA promised, 8 of us are sticking our neck out that you will keep your word. I hope you will. And Thune replied, I assure you I will. It's like, oh, for God's sake. It's like, we need a street fighter. I know, exactly. So, oh well.
All right. Bill.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't all that difficult, and I was surprised nobody did it. Bill Pulte.
Yeah.
He, by the way, is the brother of a former Wayne County judge, Maureen Riley. I don't know if any of you know that. Her name was Maureen Pulte Riley.
That's right. I forgot that.
Yep. And here's why. This 50-year mortgage is Jim Crow written all over it.
Yep, exactly.
This is indentured servitude.
Absolutely.
It is a way of making sure that people are going to step in line. I cannot say enough bad things about this. Mm-hmm. And it's disgusting. And only people of this ilk would ever dare propose or support it.
That word again, disgust.
A real question here, Joel, Steve, and Bill. With the government shutdown, forcing people to work as quote-unquote essential workers without paying them, isn't that a violation of the 13th Amendment?
You would think so, but I think there's a statutory exception.
Is there an exception?
I don't think it's a question. I don't think it's a 13th Amendment issue because they could walk away.
Okay.
I do think it's a due process issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were forced to do something without due process.
And there may be part of collective bargain agreement for all, there could be other aspects there.
Okay. Just checking on that. Allan.
I was going to say Mike Rogers for his bullshit little thing trying to blame the white van mysteriously showing up when, it's disgraceful. And I wanted to actually point out there's a column today by a retired FBI agent in Deadline Detroit, and it's titled "It's a disgrace. It's disgraceful to see FBI Director Kash Patel cater to Trump's vindictive whims." And we have a illustration, an AI illustration to go with that, and here it is.
Too kind of picture for
quite crazy.
like,
need more salt.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah. I mean, Kash Patel. I mean, the most disgraceful. I mean, look, J. Edgar Hoover did some bullshit in his day, but Kash Patel is the most disgraceful FBI director. In fact, William Barr didn't even want, when he was head of the Justice Department, refused to put him as a deputy FBI director. He said, "Over my dead body," and now he's fucking director. It's
and
scary.
he's still alive. What are you gonna
There's
do?
Alan. There's these other things that apparently, like he goes on these junkets and meets with his British and other counterparts wearing a hoodie instead of being the director of the FBI in a suit. And he went to New Zealand and he gave everyone a 3D printed gun, which of course is illegal in New Zealand, and so they had to confiscate all the guns. I mean, he's completely tone deaf on that. Well, I was going to say Megyn Kelly is my schmuck, but I've got a couple of schmucks here. First of all, let me give a shout out, the anti-schmuck, to Jack White for one of the best speeches I've heard at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I mean, just a class act, wonderful job. My two schmucks are Steve Bannon, who apparently is hiding now 15 hours of interview tapes with Jeffrey Epstein, because that seems as though that'll give everybody up. And the other is the West Bank settlers who torched a mosque yesterday, which in and of itself is egregious, except it's the 1400th action by West Bank settlers against the Palestinians, and done usually in the complicity with the Israeli security services and the further complicity of media that hasn't reported any of the other 1,399, including in the United States and other Western outlets. So the omerta is terrible.
I did read that some high official in the IDF was calling it outrageous, but
well, and there are those lone voices. I mean, there was, as we talked about before, Yonat Yerushalami, who's the IDF chief of staff, who whistle blew by showing the video of Israeli security officials raping Palestinian prisoners, except she was then hounded and accused of disloyalty. Instead of talking about the act itself, they were talking about who leaked it. So a lot of problems going on there. Well, this brings us to the end of another great week that was. Thank you, everybody, and particularly a shout out to Steve Fishman for edifying us with 1960s lyrics. I would recommend John Sebastian's "Welcome Back" as something that you want to check. And that way you will learn that there's more than just Jeffrey Epstein. There's also a Juan Epstein.
Did he, I don't think he sang with the Temps. Maybe he was standing next to Melvin Franklin and I didn't see him.
Bro,
Thank you, Miles, for being so optimistic.
John
Thank
Sebastian.
you for being optimistic, Miles.
Yeah. John Sebastian, Steve, was the lead singer for the Lovin' Spoonfuls as well. So yes,
the Lovin' Spoonful one. It's singular.
There was just one.
I tend to like my tea sweet. So all right. Thank you, Miles Wilson, for joining us. Thank you, Bill Seikaly. Thank you, Joel Sklar. Thank you, Steve Fishman. Thank you, Barb Ingalls. Thank you, Nancy Derringer. And thank you, and with the last word always, Allan Lengel.
Drive home safely and go Lions.
Go Lions. Have a great weekend, everybody.